All right, let's dive deep into this. We're going to break down the playbook from Jesse Horowitz's book, Selling Naked, and explore the pretty revolutionary and, let's be honest, often brutal world of direct-to-consumer brands. So what in the world does selling naked even mean? Well, it's this bold idea where a brand decides to just completely bypass the old school gatekeepers, the big box stores, and sell their stuff directly to you online. And this isn't just some new way to sell things. It's a total game changer in how businesses are even built. Now, you might have this image in your head that launching a brand is all about, glamorous photo shoots and fun, creative meetings. Yeah, we kind of need to reset that expectation. The reality is something else entirely. The book is brutally honest about this. It gives this stark warning to founders. Prepare to exist in a perpetual crisis mode. Expect utter chaos, a total, horrific dumpster fire. Now look, that's not meant to scare you off. It's about being real, grounding the dream in what it actually takes to win. It is a grind. So why is this whole shift even happening? Well, think about the old way. It was so restrictive. You were completely at the mercy of these gatekeepers, fighting for a tiny bit of shelf space and getting feedback from customers. It took forever. The new DTC model just blows that whole system apart. All of a sudden, you've got an infinite digital shelf, you get to make your own rules, and you get instant data right from your customers. That is the revolution. All right, so you've got an idea. But how do you know if it's any good before you, bet the entire farm on it? This brings us to what might be the most crucial part of the playbook. Test before you invest. This is all about proving people actually want what you're selling and doing it without having to quit your day job. This really is the million-dollar question for any founder, isn't it? Is my idea actually any good? And here's the secret. The answer isn't in some fancy spreadsheet that predicts a multi-billion-dollar market. Nope. The real answer is out there, in the real world, and you find it with cheap, fast, and surprisingly simple tests. And it's amazing how simple this can be. Just take the playbook that Hubble Contacts used. They just mocked up a simple website for their contact lens subscription idea. That's it. Then they asked about 30 friends to share it and offered some freebies for referrals to grab email addresses. And then they just sat back and watched to see if anybody would actually bite. And did they bite? Oh yeah. In just 4 days, they collected over 2,000 email signups. Think about that. That isn't a guess or a projection. That's hard evidence that real people wanted this. And that proof, from one little test, was powerful enough to help them raise $3.5 million in seed funding. And this isn't some one-off trick. Take Melanie Travis, the founder of Andy Swim. She used a crowdfunding campaign to test her idea. As she puts it, it's a really good way of measuring interest before going too deep. She ended up getting $10,000 in pre-orders, and that was all the proof she needed to quit her job and go all in. Okay, so you've proven there's demand. Fantastic. Now you've got to grow. And this brings us to the new rules of growth. I'll give you a little spoiler alert. It is way less about being Don Draper and way more about being a spreadsheet jockey. The book puts it so bluntly. You're no Don Draper. The whole era of just relying on one big, brilliant, creative ad campaign, that's over. Today, killer brand marketing has given way to the monotonous work of data analytics. It is a daily grind of just testing, measuring, and optimizing. So if it's all about data, which data actually matters? Well, it really boils down to two numbers that are the absolute lifeblood of a direct-to-consumer business. First is CPA, your cost per acquisition. Basically, how much do you have to pay to get one new customer? The second is LTV, or lifetime value. That's the total profit you'll make from that one customer over time. Your entire business lives or dies by these two numbers. So what's the magic number? Well, a lot of investors look for this 3-to-1 ratio. It's kind of the industry benchmark. It means your customer's lifetime value, your LTV, should be at least 3 times what you paid to acquire them, your CPA. If you can hit that ratio, you have a business that can scale, and more importantly, a business that can actually be profitable. So now you've got this potentially profitable model, and you hit this classic founder's dilemma. How much of the company should you own? The gut instinct is to hoard all the equity, right? Keep it all for yourself. But the book says that is a huge mistake. When you share the risk by bringing on investors, you get capital to grow and you get credibility. And, things go south, it's an understandable misadventure, not just your own personal failure. Okay, let's talk about the final stage, and probably the most chaotic one. You've tested your idea, you've raised the money, you're starting to grow. So what happens when the business really takes off? Well, Welcome to Surviving the Launch, or as the book calls it, Managing the Beautiful Chaos. And this is the great paradox of success. Having no customers is stressful, absolutely. But as the book says, the only thing more stressful is having thousands of them knocking on your door all at once. Suddenly, every single system you thought you had in place is under unbelievable pressure. This is a perfect, terrifying example of that pressure. Look at the Quip Christmas crisis. They had thousands of holiday pre-orders coming in. Sounds amazing, right? But then, their vendor calls. A paperwork error has their entire shipment held up by the FDA. They're told it could take 3 days or 3 months to clear. Their whole business was on the line. After 48 hours of just frantic calls, they somehow got it released just in time. This kind of near-death experience is shockingly common. And Quip's story is not unique. Not at all. When Hubble launched, they faced this constant barrage of problems. They ordered the wrong inventory, the IT link to the fulfillment center kept breaking, the fulfillment center itself was days behind, DHL was losing packages, the website crashed, the credit card processor went down. I mean, the list just goes on. The real lesson here is that you have to be ready for absolutely everything to break. So what's the ultimate lesson from all of this chaos? It's that the goal isn't perfection on day one. That's impossible. The real goal is to get your product launched, learn everything you can from the inevitable dumpster fire, and just survive. Iteration and resilience. That's the whole game. So after seeing the reality, the playbook, and the pure chaos of the direct-to-consumer revolution, the book leaves us with a really simple but powerful question. It's not about building the perfect billion-dollar company tomorrow. It's just about taking that first, small step. So what's your next experiment?